Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. This is HD Starcraft, and I'm here for Game 2 between EG.Thorzain and EG.Stephano. The map is going to be on Neo Planet S, the new snow-covered map that is available here in Heart of the Storm. It's a great map. I love it. And let's go ahead and introduce the blue Terran player in the bottom left-hand corner of the map. It is EG.Thorzain. He has taken the first game victory against his opponent, who is in the top right-hand corner, and that is Stephano. Yeah, Thorzain taking the first game, which I really didn't expect. I do feel like Stephano is of a higher caliber than Thorzain. I would expect him to take the series overall, but you guys know what they say: the player who wins the first game in a set always has a significant statistical edge here to win the entire series. I mean, if you think about it mathematically, it does make some sense, I think. So anyway, Stephano's got his work cut out for him here. Got to win this game and the next game. This is from the group stage, by the way, if you guys didn't know where in the tournament it is from the group stage. Group H, I believe. So it is from stage 3. So this is a very advanced part of the tournament. Remember, this was an open tournament from DreamHack Stockholm. So any player, technically any player could compete. Anyways, very interested to see how this is going to go down in Game 2. We didn't really see Stephano's technical Stephano style, which is really his love for infestors. He loves infestors. It's like his signature unit. We really didn't see too many infestors being used. In fact, any infestors at all being used in the last game. This map, Neo Planet S, I do feel like it is a bit more of a Terran favored map over Zerg. The reason I say that is because it's hard for a Zerg player to claim the third expansion, and this is typically where Zergs go for the third. You do see some Zergs go for the one over here as well. Well, let me go ahead and show you guys from Stephano's perspective, obviously. Usually most Zergs will go for the third here. Sometimes they'll go for the third here, but the problem with both of these are they are very exposed. You know, the third over here has this opening where a Terran player can attack, and he can attack over here, or he can just drop forces right up the gut through the with medevacs. So I do think this is a harder map for Zerg, and Stephano, I think, has his work cut out for him, but we'll see what happens. It wasn't loser picks next map. This was predefined maps throughout the series, so yeah, it wasn't like Stephano had a choice, even though he lost the last game. Anyways, yeah, Thorzain is going to go for a command center opening here. It is a CC first, which, you know, it's no surprise there. He loves command center first. He loves expanding. He loves his macro. And last game was core Thorzain playstyle. Get to the late game, have 3 or 4 bases, and then slowly, methodically push your Zerg player into oblivion. So yeah, he did that pretty well, I've got to say. We'll see if he'll be able to manage it in this game. We do have the SCV coming in right now. No Reaper, of course, because this is Thorzain, guys. He doesn't build Reapers. And he's going to bring this SCV scout into the Zerg main base. Finding out what's going on. We do have a gas. That's a pretty early gas from Stephano. Will be interesting to see how much over 100 gas does he mine. Does he mine any at all, or does he cut it off just for Zergling speed? That's usually a good telltale sign of whether or not the Zerg is preparing to make early roaches, or like an early baneling nest, or a quick lair. If he continues to mine gas after the spawning pool begins researching metabolic boost. But Thorzain isn't going to risk sticking around with his SCV, I don't think. It looks like he wants to, he's actually pretty concerned about the life of this poor guy, and has brought it outside of the main base. So maybe he's going to go for a delayed scout, or if he's just going to bring it back home or something. We'll see what happens. Meanwhile, Marine fire! I hear Marine fire. I'm not too sure where it is. Oh, there it is. Marine taking out one of the glaciers, I guess, right here. I don't know what it's called. I can't tell you guys because I don't have the heads-up display in the bottom. Boo. But yeah, it looks like we do have a Roach Warren on the way, and Stephano actually pulled off the gas, which is interesting. He's not mining any additional gas, but he does have a Roach Warren coming up right now. I'm not too sure how he's going to plan to afford for Roach. Oh, he never went for metabolic boost. He never went for Zergling speed. And really, from a Terran player's perspective, when you see the Zerg player mining gas, 90% of the time you assume it's for speed, it's for Zergling speed. But Stephano is not going for Zergling speed. He's actually going to go for roaches here. And usually with this build, you can pump out about 4 to 5 roaches, and that's the limit of how much gas. Because you've only mined about 100 gas, because he's pulled off gas, obviously. So you can only afford about 4 roaches, maybe 5. So he is making a 4 roach army right now, and he's cleverly made them all of the natural expansion. That's kind of like pro pro play style right there. Make your army units at the closest point to your opponent's base. And so he's got 4 roaches on the way right now, and Thorzain has no idea roaches are coming. For what all he thinks, he probably assumes it's going to be Zerglings. That's why he's made Hellions here. Unfortunately for Thorzain, roaches are on the way right now, and I don't know what he's going to be able to do about this. He needs to get a Marauder on the field, and he does have a tech lab that just finished. That is going to be so helpful. You can bet he's going to cancel that Marine immediately and start to make a Marauder once he sees these roaches. And yeah, cancels Marine, starts a Marauder, and these 4 roaches now obviously a big threat for Thorzain. Thorzain needs to bring these SCVs back home. He needs to build a supply depot right here to block the entrance. He's actually going to stay behind the bunker instead, hoping that he can hold the line with his SCVs and mass repair, which is obviously not a bad idea. And Stephano taking this opportunity right now to go ahead and claim a 3rd hatchery. Very smart play from Stephano, who really isn't overcommitting with the roaches. He only made 4, ladies and gentlemen. He pulled off the gas after 100 gas, so he's not overcommitting to the roaches. It's just designed to be offensive a little bit in the early game and then go back to macro mode. And how much damage is he going to be able to accomplish here? It doesn't look like much. Unfortunately, he's staying around a little bit too long here with the Marauder on the field, and the Marauder is like the easy peasy counter to the roaches. So I think Thorzain, they're getting the better of that engagement. If we pull up the loss tab here, yeah, Stephano has lost a little bit more than he should have, and that was not a good start, especially not on this map, GSL Planet S. I call it GSL Planet S because it's that's the name that I'm used to, but Neo Planet S, whatever you want to call it. Yes, this is not a good start for the Zerg player, especially on a map where I feel like Terrans are obviously a little bit stronger. What with the difficulty of claiming a 3rd base and all that stuff. So yeah, Thorzain now going to go for a 3rd. With the difficulty of claiming a 3rd for Zerg, also comes the difficulty of claiming a 3rd for a Terran, but Terrans can easily rectify that by walling off this area right here with buildings, and that's what I expect to see Thorzain go ahead and do. He doesn't want to fall prey to a mass Zergling attack, which is really, like I said, Stephano's core unit's Zergling infester, so he should play that carefully. He is actually pushing out right now, which is a bit surprising. Usually don't see Thorzain be early aggressive like this with an army, but maybe this is his new improved play style with Widow Mines in Heart of the Swarm. Widow Mines are not only a great defensive unit, but they're great offensively. If you can burrow them under the ground or under the creep, whatever, they can do a lot of damage, and it forces a Zerg to get an Overseer on the field. And if you protect those mines and pop Overseers, those mines can be a constant source of stress for an enemy player. And it looks like the mines are going to burrow right underneath here. One mine going to detonate. Ouch! Doing some damage right there to the roaches. The Queen also falling as these Marines coming around the back of the mineral line. And meanwhile, it looks like Thorzain trying to use this as a distraction to get his Hellions around. But unfortunately for him, the creep spread is too pro here. And Stephano says, nah, you're not getting those Hellions into my base. So he does deflect the Hellions. But he hasn't gotten rid of the Widow Mines, actually, which they are still burrowed underground, but a Spore Crawler is coming in here, and that is basically the same as an Overseer. It's a variant on the detector, and it is actually, oh my god, actually kills off the egg before it could morph out, or maybe the unit had morphed out and it was quickly killed off. That was pretty devastating right there for Stephano. And now he's going to try to even out the odds a little bit by an attack at the front door. A lot of roaches here, huge pack of roaches. His upgrade's currently a +1 missile, which helps the roaches quite a bit. He is trying to put these supply depots on fire. 2 of them on fire right now, 2 of them are going to go down. And does that put Thorzain under supply? It does. He's at 98 over 89 right now, and that's not good for Thorzain, who's basically back sitting and playing a defensive game, but he is being aggressive with some forces on the ground right here, trying to strike this hatchery once again. He is going to be successful this time, and he forces the drones away. So basically, the best way to defend your base sometimes is a great offense, and Thorzain realizes that. He attacks and is forcing all these roaches to pull back home. And I really think Thorzain is sitting pretty good in this game right now, although he will lose these troops. I think with that attack, he basically just saved his front door. Otherwise, he would have been forced to play turtle style. Oh my god, there's roaches outside my base. I'm going to have to basically sit back and try to slowly break this contain with siege tanks. And you never know, really, once a Zerg player gets a contain right, that's very easy for him to switch into Swarm Host and compound the issue. But Thorzain wisely goes with a bit of a side attack, and he basically gets himself some breathing room. So I really like what he did there, and now he's transitioning into his patented bio mode, as he's got a lot of Marines and Marauders on the way, and it's kind of mixed in with a couple of Widow Mines, so it's like a bio mine mix, which we saw him do in the last game. It's the new Thorzain style, ladies and gentlemen. It's working out pretty well for him. Bit of a pause right here, and I think against this kind of a bio mix, Widow Mine, Marine, Marauder. Okay, so if we think about it, back in Wings of Liberty, the best way to combat Marines and Marauders was Baneling, Infester, Zergling, Baneling. Mutas are pretty good as well, but against Widow Mines as well, Stephano has basically just gone Mass Roach here. He just said, screw it, I'm just gonna go Mass Roach. This is the best unit in terms of surviving a Widow Mine shot, I guess, and it's not working out too bad for him. He's doing an okay job. He's coming around the back here and has done a little bit of damage, but this time the supply depot wall is going to be erected on the right hand side, so those roaches will have a harder time coming in to attack that location. A little bit of a supply depot blockage here to prevent the hatchery from going down, but Stephano quickly clears it out. But look at the army that Stephano has got on the field. 2-1 roaches, and a lot of roaches at that. In fact, 46 roaches are on the field. It's almost like an Overroach army, almost as if to say, all right, look, Thorzain, if you're going to go Marine, Marauder, Widow Mine, you better change your composition up. You better get more tanks and Marauders, because, you know what, Marines and Mines are not going to cut against Mass Roach. And you guys can kind of see that, you know, roaches are just so tanky and so beefy. They really can run over minefields at will, especially when the minefields are this low in number. Whoa, we actually have a roach back here doing a little bit of damage. Not too sure how many SCVs he was able to kill, but you can see the count is pretty close right now. Meanwhile, we do have a drop on the right-hand side, trying to take out the newly birthing hatchery, but a large roach army is there, ready to defend their new home. And another attack on the left-hand side, but Stephano is too good. He's prepared for all possible attacks, and he's got his army on both sides, and now it looks like Thorzain says, ah, screw it, I'm just going to attack with everything I've got, bring in my mines, my Marines, my Marauders, and a couple of siege tanks as well. And this time, this army might be a little bit too much for Stephano to handle. Stephano, I think, will have to play this safe, and he's going to actually go into the mines and the tanks. Does he have enough roaches and hydras? I think he does, and a great concave right there, especially with the creek spread as well, helping his forces. Meanwhile, though, Thorzain says, oh, I'm just going to go for a drop around the back of the main base. Hopefully, this will work like the last time, a distraction, basically. The Queen did not finish off the medevac. Big mistake right there, and these forces, well, I guess they are going to get cleaned up regardless. Stephano is just now into super Roach Hydra mode, and I don't know if there's anything Thorzain can do. He's really just, I think, at a compositional disadvantage. It just shows how good Roaches and Hydras are. They are boss. And what is Thorzain going to be able to do now? There's even a Queen coming out, for God's sakes, to help fight the good fight. And I think Thorzain is just going to have to retreat into this natural expansion. There's not much he can do. His SCVs have basically fled the scene. They have nowhere to mine. They're freezing right now in the cold, and Thorzain is just left with a small ragtag band of forces. There's not much he can do against this Roach Hydra composition. It's just too good, and Thorzain, I think, maybe just delaying a little bit on the siege tech. EG.Stephano is victorious, and like I said before, the way to stop Mass Roach Hydra, you do need a lot of siege tanks, and you do need to start to think about going into, I think, Sky Terran. Sky Terran is great against almost everything. Roaches and Hydras, they kind of suffer when it comes to battlecruisers. So I think Stephano may be waiting a little bit too long to go into tier 3 and sticking with his Marine, Marauder, Widow Mine, and not enough siege tanks, I think, in the late game. But anyways, Stephano is victorious. We're going to go on to game 3. The series is now tied up at 1 apiece. Hope I see you guys there, and this is HD. I'm signing out.